Hello everyone, this is Swati Pise. I did want to speak about July 30th, which we all need to remember is a day imposed or recognized by the United Nations, rightly so, to end human trafficking. When I even say the words end human trafficking, I wonder, we're in 2020, man has gone to the moon, all these wonderful things have happened, but I went back to research that do orangutans and gorillas exploit its young? Do they rape? Where is this behavior that has exhibited itself in us, and we call ourselves educated, we call ourselves literate, we call ourselves a modern society? And it balks at me every time I think of the impunity of these people who are doing this and saying because it is organized crime, the most lucrative business, generating, I believe, $150.3 billion. Don't even know how many zeros that is. What makes us a civilized society when these people are allowed to do it? These people, when we say they're animals, no, they're not. We're disrespecting animals because animals don't do this. They don't do it to anyone. There is something missing in the moral fiber, the ethics of not these people, of our society, to allow this to happen. So every time your daughter steps out of the house, or your wife, you worry. Are you going to see them again? You tell them, be empowered. But oh my God, don't go to the bathroom alone. Don't go to the ladies' stall alone when you're in 6th grade or 7th grade. You don't know what's going to happen to you when you're in a public place. Go in groups. Yes, we need to protect, but why are we not protecting against these monsters that have created this society? I applaud today the first responders who come in and help and make a difference. But if each of us as a society remembers just one thing, help one person, just one person, can you imagine what we would get as a society? Let's not have blinkers and say it doesn't happen, not around me, I don't know people.
The U.S. government is at the forefront of efforts to address human trafficking. Its policy surrounds the 3 Ps: prevent trafficking, protect victims, and prosecute traffickers. The number of convictions for human trafficking is increasing, but unfortunately not proportionately to the extent of the problem. This is largely because there is an absence of anti-trafficking legislation in some countries, and even for the countries where legislation exists, law enforcement officials and prosecutors may not know how to use it.
But what is human trafficking? Expecting people to work for free, having free labor, having child labor, having young girls and boys work in homes or anywhere without pay. Instead of going to school, they're working for people. We have to stop this. We have to create the awareness because they're doing it out of a force of having nowhere else to turn to. They don't have parents sometimes. There's poverty. But more than that, we are allowing some of the richest countries, even like America, to have an industry. California is a leader in that, as is Texas. I believe Nevada is number 9, as is Pennsylvania. India is leading it by saying it's 14 million people are exploited. China comes in 3.2 million next, and then we have Pakistan. But all of this is happening because our populations are larger, but we are not recognizing that this is not something we as a society can allow. We have to question. There are airlines that are helping as first responders who look if these youngsters are being sent to another country for sexual exploitation. Most of them are the victims are young children or women. And we do not understand why this is allowed to happen, because it's an industry hand in hand with drugs, with sex abuse. But if you research it, who did it? Some of the top elite, whether it's a Weinstein, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein. These were the social creme de la creme of society, which was allowed. I use the word allowed. I do not believe that they are people who did not know, but they were the toast of New York City, of America, on every talk show, on every Vanity Fair cover. Why was that allowed? I question it. We're not that gullible, are we? We're quite savvy as a society. So money cannot attract it and say, let's have them on. Why was it the Duke of York was also involved? So this is your highest level of society. And then we wonder why this happens. Because the money and the power of this organized crime for human trafficking is so powerful that we are not able to break them unless each of us say we are going to do it. It doesn't matter what. You don't need any background to be a human, to not have a disgusting man looking at a young child saying, I want to rape. These are sick, sick monsters, and we have to do something to break this chain and pyramid of the supplier. If there was no demand, there'd be no supply. You have to change this pyramid of deceit and trafficking. And so I just want to remember on this day, every single person who has suffered it, every single person who has been there to respond, kudos and claps to you, and to each of us who are going to do our very best to make that difference around us. Pick up a phone and fight for these people.
There are 3 ways that you can help now. First, you can purchase a kit for trafficking survivors that includes food, medicine, bedding, clothing, and hygiene items available on the CRS website. Secondly, you can prevent human trafficking by working in public education, shelters, and inclusive value chains, emergency response and recovery, and other programming aims to help people prosper at home. And lastly, take action. If you witness suspected human trafficking or other forms of exploitation, speak up. You are their greatest advocate.
Don't be in your safety cocoon and say, it's not my problem, or it'll backfire on me, or it's not my child. All these are our children. We cannot allow this to happen, because then we have failed as human beings.